Our top story tonight, the Rolling Pines fire in Bastrop that started as a controlled burn before roaring out of control is putting a new focus on a sometimes controversial land management and wildfire prevention practice.
Some experts have joined residents in Bastrop County questioning a controlled burn that happened back on Tuesday morning leading to the fire, while others contend the weather conditions, including gusty winds, may have been, in fact, ideal for certain kinds of prescribed burns. KVUE defenders have been looking into the issue. Here's senior reporter Tony Plahetsky.
Burning on a day that there's a ban and there's winds.
Every time it's stupidity.
And guess what? They lost control.
On the morning, officials planned a prescribed burn on state property. The National Weather Service issued this forecast at 3:03 a.m. South winds from 15 to 20 miles per hour and gusts up to 30. About 8 hours later, the Rolling Pines fire began to flame out of control, just as winds blew as predicted. According to these readings from nearby Camp Swift, the winds at 10 a.m. blew at 11 miles per hour, gusting at 17. But those winds gusted at 20 miles per hour or more during the next 7 hours.
When I heard that it was a prescribed burn, I thought my honest reaction was no way.
Kevin Baum is a former assistant Austin fire chief who spent years studying wildfire threats. Although he has no firsthand knowledge of the plan for the Rolling Pines prescribed burn.
Under those conditions on Tuesday, I wouldn't have burned. Not only would I not have burned, I wouldn't even burned a brush pile in those conditions.
The Rolling Pines fire has charred nearly 800 acres after officials said they believe embers from the controlled burn of 150 acres in Bastrop State Park got out of control. Heath Starnes, a certified wildland fire ecologist and research scientist with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, said that although he has not reviewed plans for the Rolling Pines prescribed burn, performing such burns in wind gusts can be ideal and necessary.
The fire has to go from one plant to the next. So your wind is a big variable in how well the fire moves. You always want some wind because you need the smoke to dissipate and you need the fire to move in a certain direction. If you have no wind at all, then you have no real idea of which direction the fire is going to move in.
At the scene this week, officials acknowledged the fire didn't go as planned.
What we don't know is how that happened, and we'll get to the bottom of it.
No homes were damaged, but the fire prompted the evacuation of about 250 residents. Just 2 hours after the prescribed burn started, the Texas A&M Forest Service issued this public news release saying that it was preparing for elevated wildfire conditions, including, quote, above normal temperatures and wind speeds near 20 miles per hour. According to Bastrop County officials, they are only notified that the state plans to do a prescribed burn. In November, they received this letter from Park Superintendent Jamie Creasy saying that the agency plans to do one or more prescribed burns between January 2022 and March 2022. Texas Parks and Wildlife Executive Director Carter Smith says the burn was orchestrated with other agencies and experts, but that ultimately the decision to go forward was made by staff on the ground.
I'm unequivocally convinced that our burn boss thought that it was safe to carry out that fire.
Bastrop County Judge Paul Poppy says he is also eager for Texas Parks and Wildlife to fully understand what happened.
I'm confident that Texas Parks and Wildlife are committed to doing that, and I'll hold their feet to the fire on it, pardon the pun. But and I know that as a partner, Carter Smith will do what he says he will do, and we will let the public know what the findings are. Anytime we're impacting the life and safety of our citizens, they have a right to know what we found out, what went wrong, and what we're going to do to stop it from happening again.
Much of the determination about whether this controlled burn was acceptable as it started will come down to whether officials followed their own plan. We have asked for copies of the state's prescribed burn plan for the area to help make that assessment, but we haven't received it yet. Meanwhile, it is unclear when the Texas Department of Parks and Wildlife will complete its review. We'll continue to track it.